Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another cryptocurrency video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. Thank you to everyone who leaves a comment every single video. Once again, it's one of those like really good news day, but it also, how do I remotely explain this? We get a lot of popular news always within the cryptocurrency space, within this channel, what have you. But at some point, I'm saying it a lot more recently, I realize that a lot of people haven't been in this market for that long, and I mean longer than a year. Because stuff keeps happening, it ends up making the most popular news out there. And then I look at it and I'm like, well, that also kind of already happened. Anyway, the point basically is good news constantly as always. It says, in an historic move, Goldman Sachs, the world's second largest investment bank, has formally acknowledged cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies in their 2024 annual shareholder letter. It says a first since its years-long silence on digital assets dating back to 2017. Did you hear what I said at the beginning of the video? That also is not true. The bank stated, and I quote, "The growth of electronic trading and the introduction of new products and technologies, including trading and distributed ledger technologies such as cryptocurrencies, has increased competition," end quote. Goldman Sachs's recognition marks a significant shift, spurred by Bitcoin ETF approvals, rising crypto adoption, and pro-crypto policies under the Trump administration. The bank admitted it faces rising competition from institutions offering crypto-focused financial products. Though cautious, Goldman Sachs has gradually ventured into the sector, launching a crypto trading desk in 2021. And I'm so glad, whoever wrote this article, I don't understand your mindset about life. Launching a crypto trading desk in 2021, a digital asset platform in 2022, and participating in Canton Network, a blockchain-based financial infrastructure team. Yeah, you know what's crazy is all I had to do was basically read a little bit further. Goldman Sachs has not been silent about crypto. Neither has Fidelity, neither has BlackRock, neither has Vanguard. What's the other one? State Street as well. There's a really weird, nonsensical, it's not even a misconception. It's just like this really weird thing where, as I've stated before, if we don't hear someone standing up at a podium and announcing explicitly that they're into cryptocurrencies, people within crypto, I've seen it on Twitter. You can't lie and say that it's not a thing. People online will go like, well, that's their loss. Like they're going to lose. And it's like, these are the wealthiest people and institutions and companies and banks on the planet. You found out about crypto a year and a half, 2 3/4 years ago. These banks have been into this since 2014. Remember when I said this was really popular news? This was really popular news. Everyone was reporting that maybe behind the scenes, Goldman Sachs is thinking about getting into Bitcoin. Maybe they're thinking of having some kind of a foray into the Bitcoin ETFs. Maybe, and I'm like, okay. So even crazier, this was what I just read. The person literally was talking about that, there's been, maybe this is the beginning of Goldman Sachs getting into it. Goldman Sachs has more money than you can possibly mentally conceptualize. They've been doing this for a long time. They have a crypto trading desk. They have a digital asset platform. They've been working with a number of banks and cryptocurrency companies because there were rumors before, wink, that they were going to create their own crypto. But a lot of that ended up kind of falling apart when JP Morgan made JP Morgan coin, and JP Morgan Chase was basically telling other banks that they were going to use JP Morgan's coin. So then Bank of America was making their own coin, and other bank was also making their own coin. But the problem is they were all on their own systems. They weren't interoperable per se. And then they all completely fell apart. No, Goldman Sachs has been here for a very long time. Goldman Sachs has been buying Bitcoin for a very long time. This is an article, I think, from sometime last year, for those of you not looking at the screen. It says Goldman Sachs gobbles up Bitcoin and Ethereum as crypto ETF holdings soar past $2 billion. I don't know why, and this is almost like a remnant of the past. I don't know why people in crypto just assume that because your friends or your grandmother isn't into crypto, that you somehow think that these institutions and these banks don't know what's going on. Remember the news that we had a couple of days ago, for those of you who missed it? Abu Dhabi apparently has $500 million in allocations through the Bitcoin ETFs. And all the news articles were like, maybe this is their first time getting into it. You know, if we have more of their support, maybe prices will go up. And I was like, you think they just randomly bought $500 million worth of anything? You think that the people who run Abu Dhabi and Dubai are just now hearing about Bitcoin in 2025? It's a special kind of news day. No, they've been here for a while. They've always been buying. To reiterate a point as well, when you talk about that Bitcoin's supposed to take over the US dollar, and Bitcoin's going to $1 million at some point in the future, and 90+% of Bitcoin is being held by whales who are not selling. Who do you think those whales are or have been this entire time? So yeah, this was very popular news. Everyone was reporting on it, that this is really cool. They mentioned it in their report. Maybe at some point soon, Goldman Sachs will think about getting into Bitcoin. You are being distracted by literal nonsense. These people have been here for a while. So yeah, and I want no confusion. I want no weird comments, and I don't want any kind of regret whatever in the comment section in the future when Bitcoin goes above $1 million. Don't sit there and act like you didn't know or that this was some type of a possibility. I mean, every day we get news like this, but you know, once again, people are going to forget this news in about 6.5 weeks. Goldman Sachs will pop back up in cryptocurrency news and people will go, Goldman Sachs is thinking about it? That's the Goldman Sachs wrote about crypto in their yearly asset newsletter. No, they've been here for a while. They're probably a huge chunk of that 90%. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also, in very popular news that I wish was actually more popular, but unless it directly moves prices, people don't really care. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, or the OCC, has stated that federally regulated banks can officially engage in various cryptocurrency activities without prior approval. You might have been here or might not have. In the past, that was not a thing. This is relatively brand new. As far as we're getting more clarity from the SEC within the US of A as to what cryptocurrency companies can do, we're also now seeing actual, confirmation that banks within the United States can also deal in cryptocurrencies as well. As we've heard thus far, It has to do with being able to buy and hold and custody. So like the bank can hold it for themselves, and they can also custody it for their customers as well. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency has withdrawn its 2023 statement on liquidity risks for banks from crypto, indicating a shift in its previous concerns about the industry's impact on financial stability. That was all a lie. All banks do is lie. Constantly, over and over and over. I'm not sure how long you've been on this planet, but if a bank ever tells you to not invest in something, to not get near something, or that it might be and I lightly say, a danger in some sort of way, odds are they're lying. You want to know how I know? Because I've been here doing this channel since 2016. Can you imagine over the course of thousands of videos how many times we have had news from Goldman Sachs, from the Wall Street Journal, from JP Morgan Chase, from Bank of America, from Fidelity over the last decade talking negatively about Bitcoin? And we used to say every single video, I was like, why are they looking at Bitcoin? Why are they so intent on talking negatively about Bitcoin? Remember all those years ago? Jamie Dimon, he used to sit on stage at all these events and money things and yada yada. And the only thing this man talked about, similar to Peter Schiff, another individual, he used to sit there for hours. Yeah, Bitcoin's garbage. Bitcoin's not good. And I'm like, you are a multi-billionaire, and the only word that keeps coming out of your mouth is that Bitcoin is bad. I was like, okay, it's clear that you own it. And then we started getting news that JP Morgan behind the scenes had like tons of analysts who were like always talking about Bitcoin, and there were rumors of the bank buying Bitcoin, and it's like, yeah. So whenever you hear, and I say it this way, whenever you hear, especially revolving around crypto, and I'm saying this historically, that someone talks about there's a risk or the banks can't do this or blah, they're usually being paid by someone behind the scenes. I don't know if the OCC was officially being paid. I don't know these people. I wasn't in the office, blah, 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 blah. But we've been on a pretty good winning streak between regulators, institutions, banks, and billionaires talking negatively about us, or that there's not enough there, so we can't do that. And then all of a sudden they're like, wait, no, sorry, I typoed the entire thing. That was all completely incorrect. Remember all those billionaires? There was one in Mexico. There were, I think, a couple in Europe. There was some in Asia. And I mean, they dogged the cryptocurrency market for years. Around 2020, 2021, these people were going onto TV. Yeah, Bitcoin's amazing. Bitcoin's going to save the world. And I was like, so you lied to everyone over the course of multiple years so that you could buy more. Federally regulated banks can engage in a range of cryptocurrency activities without prior approval. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency said in a new interpretive letter and statement. In the letter, the OCC clarified that national banks and federal savings associations can legally provide crypto custody, conduct certain stablecoin related activities, and run nodes. Running nodes is the really interesting part. If we start hearing more news, because we already know that the United States is already mining Bitcoin. Got it. The other part is that we know that there are banks and institutions, and look this one up, universities within the United States who are already running nodes and validating transactions on a number of blockchains. This has been happening for a very long time, especially if you missed that news. This was like 2 months ago. I forgot the name of the university. I want to say Brown or Yale. It doesn't matter. In the United States, and people found out that they were like in crypto and they have money in crypto, and people were like, what? That's amazing. I can't believe it. And then I showed you the other articles that we had like in 2018, that there's, I think, 3 universities that we know of back then had like $100 million in Bitcoin. And that's like spot Bitcoin. That's not like Bitcoin ETFs. No, they've been buying that since at least 7 years that we've known about. Like, you have to really understand how much money is really in this space. There's not a wide concept of just like the big money, like the actual tug of war that we literally see going on because of how much money there is to be made. When I tell you that these people are trying to flush you out of the market, they want you gone, don't sell your Bitcoin to BlackRock, I'm not joking. You are up against the richest people and entities on this planet. BlackRock is buying as much Bitcoin as they can so that you never have any, that your friends and family don't have any. And when they do decide to buy, as I've been stating for a number of years, they're going to be able to afford 5,000 to 10,000 Satoshis. We're talking about universities. We're talking about countries. We're talking about states. We're talking about banks. We're talking about central banks. We're talking about literal kingdoms on this planet who are like buying constantly. Where do you think that 90% whale number comes from? It's not like random people sitting inside of an apartment with a hat on, like, yeah, hacker man, I got all the coins. No. It's really big money in the space. Anywho, we had news. This was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that there was some kind of an allowance that would allow, if you will, banks and institutions to get into crypto. And the only people who seemed to pick that news up were people who follow, like, or are into Ripple and or XRP, which was also like really like breathtaking news as well, that US banks could finally begin to start working with these cryptocurrency companies, because we've heard from Ripple before that there are dozens of banks within the United States who have wanted to work with them for a while, but they were waiting for the SEC to end the lawsuit. They were waiting for proper like regulatory clarity. Now you talk about being able to run nodes, deal in stablecoins, custody, and eventually that's also going to be like buy and sell. Like, you'll be able to walk into a bank and the bank would be like, hey, it looks like you are close to retiring. Would you also like some crypto in your retirement account? As we've also been seeing retirement funds across the United States also buying Bitcoin years ago, and now more of them investing in Bitcoin ETFs. You have to see where all of this is going, right? This isn't like we can't keep getting news like this every day and then you have any kind of doubt as to how much money people are going to make from this market. Like it's almost like a bit comical at this point, because everything has completely fallen into place. We're no longer talking about like, oh gosh, I hope in the future that banks and institutions can get into crypto. No, buddy boy, they've been here for a while. I hope one day, how crazy it would be if the United States even thought about buying 1 Bitcoin. Can you imagine? Now we're talking about them buying 800,000 Bitcoin. I don't know what people need to be convinced even more, but that's not my job. I'm not here to convince you, because that train has left the station. I tried for so long trying to get people to really understand what's taking place. And if you hear this news every 24 hours and your brain isn't like going off in all directions and you're like, I need to be a part of this, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah. Crypto regulation across the United States continues to expand very rapidly. We had a news story a couple of days ago as well where the guy was like, yeah, these things are happening really, really fast, because I think we are so used to things taking over a decade to get like an ounce of some kind of regulatory anything. But when you have regulators who actually regulate, this is what you get. That's the OCC news. And yeah, let's move on. A lot of discussions as well about stablecoins. For those of you who do not know, stablecoins are usually a very strong indication of actual money moving through the market. They provide an excessive amount of liquidity for people looking to trade within this market. There are expectations that in the coming years, not in 20, 30 years, in the coming years, the stablecoin market will be dealing in over $1 trillion worth of stablecoins, and that's expected to hit around $5 trillion within the next 2 halvings, Whenever we see that there's a large amount of stablecoins being created, it usually means and is that there are a lot of investors behind the scenes. There's a weird misconception. And I mean, this was also a lie years ago by the Wall Street Journal and maybe Bitcoin maximalists. I'm not really sure. The lie basically is that somebody named Tether was sitting in an office called Tether, and they created Tether. And then at some point they were hitting a button that said like create Tether, and they were making new Tether out of thin air. What actually happens for every stablecoin is that money is actually basically injected into the ecosystem, or they find some kind of an investor, angel or otherwise, who's like, hey, we'll give you around $300 million to create that coin. And their payoff, that person is, they get a portion of the fees from the actual transactions as they're happening. This is why we've seen such a gigantic push by governments talking about they're going to forego CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, but instead they're going to make stablecoins, which are the exact same thing. And it's really weird that people don't know that. I've seen so many articles recently about people trying to ban central bank digital currencies, but like making all these stablecoin bills, they're going to be made by the same people, the same institutions, the same central banks, except that you're no longer scared because you were told to be afraid of the letter CBDC. So on top of that, what we are witnessing now, and this happens every single cycle, this isn't brand new, this isn't something like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. No, this happens every single cycle where the amount of stable coins begins to rise in the market, indicating that there are investors behind the scenes, there are companies behind the scenes, or whatever the case, who are pumping money into these stable coins so that the market actually has extra liquidity to be able to trade. So we sometimes don't think of stable coins as like anything really relevant because you're not investing in a stable coin. But when you get indications that there's about a good several $100 billion looking to move back and forth within this market, who are trading the market, moving back and forth, they need liquidity to be able to do so. The liquidity comes from the stable coins as they're looking for a stable place to actually put their just traded Bitcoin or whatever into. So what we're seeing now is that the amount of stable coins is beginning to like continuously go up and up and up. And it is a very good indication that the bull run is still obviously going on, but that there's like a good amount of money that's looking to get extra into the market. It says in April 2022, the supply hit $187 billion, just as the bear market started. Now it's at $219 billion and still rising, suggesting we're likely still mid-cycle. For those of you who have not seen, we're not here. Every analyst is so bullish on this space that it actually physically hurts at this point. The news stories that we've been getting the last week is that the end of this month, moving into quarter two, that is April, May, and June, they're expecting a completely banana crazy price break movement upward for Bitcoin and the wider cryptocurrency market. Whether that's going to happen, gigantic question mark. However, all the signs are kind of pointing to everything. And as I said before, the only thing that would really slow that down is more information about tariffs or anything else that might spook the market. But as we are still incredibly undervalued as a market, there's nothing really stopping us at this point from going up, except for crazy news. Yeah, that's the stable coins continue to rise, adding extra liquidity to the market. As we've seen every other cycle, it tends to bode extremely well for the cryptocurrency market because this is when like the big money ends up moving into the space. Current predictions that I'm seeing now, once again, light grain of salt here. The predictions that I'm seeing for the market right now for Bitcoin is, grain of salt, April, May, Bitcoin over 150,000, nearing 200,000. A lot of the analysts are still screaming for a $400,000 to a $500,000 Bitcoin sometime before it even really gets cold outside. So, yeah, this is fairly typical for other cycles that we've had. I know that we have a lot of new people in the space. Hello, welcome to the channel. And I think there's the word's not misconception, but there's definitely something going on where you can tell that people aren't used to prices going down and it spooks them a lot more. But we're in this really weird place where this is no longer a game. They're trying to actively get you out of the market to buy your coins. For clarity, it's always been that way. Don't be confused by any means. But what we have right now is like a deliberate push out of the market because rich people want to own everything. That sounds like a joke. It sounds like I'm exaggerating. You don't get how big money actually works. We're expecting, one of the expectations is that we're going to see the first trillionaire on the planet and that wealth will have been created in part by Bitcoin or crypto. Yeah. Right. I think that's going to do it for this video. Seems like a good time to stop. I hope you're all I almost said I hope you're all enjoying. I hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you've all been doing well. I'm still staying away from the news. I can't do it to myself every single day. It's even a problem now. Like if I'm on any kind of social media, it's just like everything's just like so much at the moment. But it's just the way that things are. Hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.